weeks ago. What will those funds be used for? Where can we find this information? Taxpayers deserve to know. Last in my remarks today, as stated, as Mr. Jacobs also stated, I have noticed that all of our commissioners' court meetings are held during the workday when most taxpayers are at work. Why is this? If you truly had the best interest of taxpayers in mind, you would conduct these meetings at a time when taxpayers can actually attend. Thank you for your attention to these matters.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, the next one, Elena Berlanga.
As I'm sure you've heard by now,
It is. It is. It's on.
property owners and taxpayers are outraged. They're so outraged about the astronomical increase in property values from the CAD that 300 people attended a property tax seminar that I organized over the weekend. They're so outraged that more than 4,000 people have joined the Wilson County Taxpayers Association and revitalized that group. How many of you sitting behind this table are actually reviewing the county budget that is before you and adopted every year? How many of you think that expanding the county budget is a wise financial decision, especially during a time when many of our neighbors have lost their businesses, lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, lost their income, lost their cars, some even lost their family members, and now they're at risk of losing their home or they've already lost their home? In 2019, the total property values in Wilson County were $2,988,771,000. Last year, in 2020, property values were at $3,167,364,000. That is an increase of $178 million. And what did our commissioners do? They increased the tax rate for the county and expanded their spending yet again. So you had more revenue from the increased property values, but that wasn't enough. So you also increased the tax rate. That's right. At the height of a pandemic, our commissioners increased the tax burden on all of us. Instead of downsizing and reducing expenditures last summer, on August 24th of 2020, you adopted an increased tax rate. And what were some of the things that you felt needed more money? Commissioners, county clerk, county attorney, tax assessor, other elected officials, and county employees enjoyed, across the board, a 3% salary increase while your constituents lose their jobs. Nearly every single area in the budget saw an increase in spending, but one thing that I thought was rather ironic is what I call the black hole money pit, also known as the show barn, also known as the expo center. Spending on that building and staffing increased by 88%, from $63,000 to over $134,000, while revenue has not exceeded $31,000 since that thing was purchased. Meanwhile, your constituents, your neighbors, they're losing their home with your negligent spending and outlandish property values. But why should we expect anything less? Because when we were first discussing the show barn purchase, and this room was full of your constituents, Commissioner Fowle boldly exclaimed, in this very courtroom full of taxpayers, he didn't care about numbers. We could just go up on taxes. Just remember, elections have consequences, and more people are paying attention.
Okay. And next is Russell Dickerson.
Yes, according to the budget documents I can find for last year, going into the August increase, the previous year they had a $3.4 million overage, money that was under the where the budget was spent less than that much than collected. This year we've got a $9.9 million gift from Cuellar. Now, my daughter lives out on County Road 331, and that thing is like the surface of the moon. And they come along and they shovel gravel or whatever on it, and you're taking your life in your hands every time you go down it. But she's fortunate because it at least has some paving on it. My friend Tiffany lives out on 302, and she put her place out there years ago, and it's still dirt, and they just come through with a plow. There's a section of that road that is so low that it swamps out. And they have numerous times had to come spend the night at our house when bad weather was expected so their children could be guaranteed to make it to school because the bus can't go down that road when it's a slip and slide. And you know, I count this out, it's almost $14 million. The overage and the gift from Cuellar. When do the roads matter? But we're going to spend all this money on the show barn. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that has signed up for public comment? Okay, thank y'all for your public comments. Okay, we're moving right along to agenda item number 4, certificates of completion and awards. Do we have any certificates of completion? I know we have one
I think you
award.
have a presentation.
Yes, we have a presentation.
Yes.
Catholic Life Insurance, Mr. Lavas. I don't see Judge Terry, did she?
Yeah,
make it?
she's right here, Judge.
Where? Oh,
She's right
okay.
there.
If y'all want to come up, Judge Terry, come up. Come up right in front of there. This is a flag presentation for Justice of the Peace Precinct 3 in Lavernia. She's Judge Terry, get up. She's the one.
So she can see.
There.
This is a Flag Day presentation. This will be going to, again, the precinct in
Precinct.
District in 3, Lavernia. Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we're moving on to agenda item number 5, Richard L. Jackson County Judge. Discuss and take action on appointing Christina Moots as First Assistant Treasurer, Payroll Administrator under the Commissioner's Court during the transition period.
Judge, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss this matter under 551.074.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Wiley. We go into executive session to discuss the appointment of Christina Moots. It's a payroll issue. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. So at 9:16, we are going into executive
Judge,
session.
can I have your first and second?
First, Commissioner Martin, Commissioner Wiley.
Okay, no problem.
Are we going to take that?
Yes, because she's going to stop this meeting and start.
So
it again,
I
Judge.
stopped it, and all you have to do is push record again,
Okay,
just the red button.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready. Recording again,
Started recording?
again.
Again. What do you mean again?
Because I just stopped that one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just this one doesn't have any strong.
That's why he doesn't wear one.
Print didn't get any bigger.
Huh?
I said the print didn't get any bigger.
Okay, it's 9:39. I got a motion to come out of,
Here, then I
or
don't,
come out of executive session, go into regular court. Anybody? Motion by
Make a motion to come out of executive session, return to regular commissioner court.
Commissioner Perdola. Second by Commissioner Wiley. Is all in favor?
Aye.
So at 9:39, we're back in court, and we are, okay, we have,
Item 5.
I'll make a motion that we approve the appointment of Christina Moots as the first assistant treasurer for payroll and have her report to Commissioners Court during the transition period until Jan Hartle retires.
motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Fowle, that we appoint Christina Moots, first assistant treasurer, reporting under Commissioners Court. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So now you're reporting to Commissioners Court, Ms. Moots. Okay. Agenda item 6, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, discuss and possibly approve an order confirming February 13th, 1967 abandonment of county road for purposes of permanent county roads. Okay,
I'm going
Catherine?
to introduce this and explain a little bit about it. And then Mr. Bruce Wills, who represents the Tipton family, is here and could answer any questions that you have. The document I've given you is called Order Ratifying and Confirming Prior Orders and Quitclaim Deed. Mr. Wills' office researched this and prepared this and submitted it to me, and of course I had to make some changes. But what this is, there were 3 orders that were entered by Commissioners Court many years ago. They are listed in here. One was 1967, one was 1951. So they were old orders, but they are attachments to this order. So what you are being asked to do is not to increase or decrease the amount of road covered by that order. It's just to affirm what Commissioners Court has already done in abandoning, I would say, parts of County Road 130. And of course, the 1951, 1967 orders are written very different than the way we write our orders now. They're somewhat more vague. So basically, the Tipton family is trying to get the title to their property clear. This is kind of what a title company does, for instance, before you sell it. And this is something they're wanting to do, I think, as the next generations come up. So by doing this, you are not abandoning anything new. You're just ratifying what the Commissioners Court has already abandoned. Then the second part of it is the quitclaim deed, which I'm sure you are all familiar with from the standpoint of the quitclaim deed basically says, I don't own any of that property described, or I don't think I own any of that property described, but if I did, I'm giving it to you. And so those are the 2 parts to this document. Beautifully done by Mr. Will's staff, which is what his business does. So that's what they are asking to do. I gave you, Lynn printed off a map that showed this little map with the blue look on it, where County Road 130 is out by Walmart, Leanne. And you can see part of it was already renamed Tipton Lane. And again, this goes back to December 10th, 1951 was the first time Commissioners Court entered an order making an abandonment. And now I can answer any questions, and Mr. Wills is here to answer any questions you might have.
I don't really see this as any different than other abandoned roads that we've dealt with in my tenure as a commissioner.
Exactly. All we're doing is ratifying it and putting it in a clear-cut document that can be filed in the deed records. And again, if you look back at those early orders of the Commissioners Court, they're not written real clearly, even though you can't get the meaning from them.
And
Road was
from what I can,
behind a closed gate, been behind a closed gate for years.
and it all sets within the Tipton property,
Yes.
Yes.
there is really no issue here.
They own the property on both sides of the road.
Yes, there's no, whose precinct is that?
It's mine. Yes, and I'm familiar with, and I'm good with it, so.
And I will say, Mr. Will's employee did this, but I went over it line for line to make sure you're not making any changes, you're just ratifying what's already been done.
Motion, Mr. Commissioner?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to, are we ratifying this previous
Ratifying and
action?
confirming prior orders and quick claim deed.
Okay. I'll make a motion to ratify the abandonment of a county road for purposes of permanent county roads, more specifically being related to County Road 130 and Tipton Lane in prior actions.
By Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Fowle. We ratify and confirm prior orders and quitclaim deed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have this confirmed.
Mr. Martin, what county road did you say?
130.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can make it harder if you like.
We want it back. No, not really. Before you leave, if you can stay till the end of court,
Have a good
before
day.
you leave, you can stay till the end of the court. I'd like to have a conversation with you. Let me do this, because we gotta keep it all together, so.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, and then we'll come back, those
And
are
here-
attachments, let's put
Here's,
them on
just
the
put this, but that's the order there.
Right.
Okay. Moving to agenda item number 7, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, discuss and take action on approving an employee discount policy for Wilson County Expo and Community Center. And Ms. Trevino just handed out what the change would be to our personnel policy manual. It's kind of what we talked about last time, or it is what we talked about last time. And this is like a per employee once a year. And I don't think we've had very many employees rent the Expo Center since we've got it. I know one right after we bought it, and that's it. Most of it's been the other public.
Make a motion that we approve the discount policy as presented for the Expo Center.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we accept the employee discount for the Wilson County Expo and Community Center. Is there any more discussion? All in, yes.
Now, if it's already rented, If someone else has it rented, they don't take that person
No,
on.
it's just like, as so far, Ms. Moots has been taking care of it, and first come, first served, is that correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Does it specifically say employees, or does it say elected officials and employees?
No,
Employees.
employees.
Sure.
It says employee discount. Is an elected official considered an employee?
Yes, it is.
You get a
Okay,
check.
then you're considered an employee. Okay. Any other questions?
We'll take your deposit.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This passes. So this will be added, this is what y'all got, to the employee personnel manual. Okay, now we're getting into agenda item number 8, Richard L. Jackson County Judge, Brenda Trevino County Auditor. 8A, discuss and possibly take action on a budget amendment for the Sheriff's Department.
Thank you, Judge. Commissioners, Sheriff Jim Stewart is requesting to decrease his Sheriff's Department salary budget and increase the courthouse security budget due to an employee transfer. The amount is $10,086.08. This does not affect the bottom line budget. It just requests to move it from one department to another.
I make a motion, we do that.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley,
Second?
second by Commissioner Frodola, sorry, I was looking at him. That we approve a budget amendment to change salary from, part of it from the Sheriff's Department to the courthouse security line item. And this is to actually compensate an employee swap, what he's doing. So, is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So, it didn't change anything except 2 employees swapped, really. Okay, we're going to 8B, discuss and possibly take action on cellular phone policies for officials, employees, or agents of Wilson County.
Several courts back, the court approved for the Sheriff's Department to transition to FirstNet data for cellular phones for the patrol deputies in his department. So we've gotten that process. I've gotten all the phones in. Been working with Michelle Key, his assistant, and working with Ms. Chapman on the policy for county-owned cellular phones, which you all have a copy of. So we are requesting to include this in the employee handbook, as to be added to the employee handbook before we distribute to the Sheriff's Department employees. So every person receiving a phone will have to sign this. Will have to sign this as well. And Ms. Chapman had reviewed it and made some edits, and so we're good to go on it now.
Right now, it's just only the sheriff department.
It is, but the policy is written as such for all county officials and employees, so that if you choose at a later time to transition anyone else, the policy is already in effect.
There's no personal phone calls on these phones, I see.
That is correct. One of the requirements or requests was because of the archiving, all text messages, emails, pictures, all of that gets uploaded immediately within seconds of transmission, and so there is a portal that John Holcomb and myself right now have access to, only until requested by an elected official or department head.
Or a
For
public
uses,
records.
whatever you need it. Public,
Okay.
Right,
Public records. And this includes that?
yes,
Okay, the archiving and all that?
correct.
Okay.
We just felt the policy needed to be implemented. This is also taken from a sample policy that Kendall County has in their employee handbook as well. So we reached out to a couple of counties to make sure we were in line.
I'll make a motion to approve the cell phone policy for officials, employees, or agents of Wilson County of the County of Wilson.
Motion by Commissioner Martin. Second by Commissioner Perdola that we approve the cellular phone policy for officials, employees, and agents. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moving right along to 8C. Okay. Discuss and possibly take action on signed proposal for Wilson County Expo Center. Okay.
Commissioners, at last Commissioners Court, you asked for John Holcomb to do some research and come back to the court as well with his findings. So John and I worked closely last week. We received clarification from both vendors for the budgeted amount that's in the budget for the sign for the Expo Center. I think John provided you a kind of like a scale scoring sheet so that we would make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. And when it's all said and done, the result is, just as an auditor, and I don't want to speak for John, but I am recommending to the court that we approve the budget signs proposal for the installation of the sign at the Wilson County Expo Community Center.
One of the things I liked about Budget's presentation was the fact that they have a number of signs that they deal with here in Floresville, the hospital being a part of it. I think that experience, they also have a better proposal, but I think that experience would be of value.
The one thing we're gonna do, we're gonna save quite a bit of money on that, but here's what we need to do. We need to look into getting the electric line upgraded from the Expo Center to where the sign's gonna be located. And that would need to be done with, no matter which sign we went with, which company. But this will,
Yes, that's correct.
what we have
This will allow
budgeted
us
for
to-
this would allow us to be able to do it and stay under budget for what we had for the sign.
I'll make a motion to accept the proposal from Budget Signs for the Wilson County Expo Center.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, second by Commissioner Wiley. We accept the budget signs proposal.
I'll have it for your signature. I wrote on mine by accident, so I will.
Okay.
I'll
Is there-
have a clean copy for you. I brought the one with my notes
Okay.
on it.
Is that, you have it for everybody or just for me to sign?
It's just your signature.
Okay, I could get that later. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So, that's all of you right now, Brenda.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 9, Richard L. Jackson County Judge Michelle Mota, Grants Manager, discuss and approve updated priority projects list for the TxDOT County Transportation Infrastructure Fund, CTIF grant.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Thank you.
This is just, we've been through this before with the County Transportation Infrastructure Fund grant. Last year, since the change in commissioners, we had one request to update the roadways for precinct 1. And that's been done, so that's the only change that's occurring on this grant.
What's the time frame on this? I forget.
It's a 5-year grant.
Okay.
The money has to be spent within 5 years of being awarded. So, budget-wise, we have a little bit of time.
So it doesn't have to be done within this budget year.
Correct.
No.
Correct. And you can actually, that's the great thing about this grant.
And
You
you-
can actually plan it out.
You can, whenever you submit, that's when you get payment?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have to individually expend our funds and then apply for reimbursement. We've got some
Okay.
cost
How many-
tracking to do. We have to keep a sheet of all the work that we do that she'll have to turn into TxDOT.
Well, there needs to be a format put together, because what we have to do is, the materials are relatively easy. You know, I guess Paul, Commissioner File and I have dealt with a couple of these. You have to keep track of all of your labor and the labor has to be weighted.
Right.
So that it's not just salary, it's benefits, insurance, the whole bit. So someone has to come up with a format that gives you that information. And so, and then you have to, you probably know this, Commissioner Martin, but you have to account for not only your people, but what they were operating on a given day. And then you have all of your equipment, and so we'll need a current list of equipment charges. What's, how much is a motor grader, a water truck, a pickup? If you drive out in a pickup to take a look at what your guys are doing, then you have to keep track of that.
And in my conversations with Ms. Moore last week, there should be some forms that she can download that'll have all the standard rates where we just have to fill in 8 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever for personnel, equipment, and everything.
I haven't seen those in the past. I made my own, but what I did use, whenever I put it together on Excel was, again, the employee hour structure and the cost of the equipment. I like that because then Excel will do all of the spreadsheet numbers.
I sure did, didn't I?
Material.
TxDOT has a basic price formula per hour for each equipment. That's we kind of worked off of last time.
Yeah, we just need to get a current copy of that.
And I've been in communication with them, I'll get those forms and stuff like that. And anytime, the good thing about this is anytime you want to change your roadways, if you feel like there's another roadway that is more pressing to address, you can, we just have to come through the Commissioner's Court to approve it in the list again.
I thought,
But the cost has to stay the same.
I thought that they could only be related to petroleum traffic. Wasn't that what that was about?
It was, but
Now it's changed?
I don't know if it's officially changed, but that's what we've been told. They don't necessarily have to.
Well, that would be good to know, because there are roads that have, from the standpoint of traffic, daily commuter traffic by citizens would have a higher priority.
I'll confirm.
But confirm, these were ones that,
But I know that precinct 1 really didn't have any roadways that met that criteria.
right.
They still were allowing it though.
But it may be since
They changed, okay, this is the third time they've changed it. Because they had one, what are the requirements?
Percentages, right?
And LaSalle County challenged them. And so the next time they came out, they changed it to another format or whatever,
Right.
where it benefited Karnes County immensely because of the number of wells and
Right.
permits and other things that is oil field related. And now, so they're going away from that?
I don't think officially, but let me confirm.
Okay, and another, because our biggest,
The only reason I say that is because precinct 1 has no roadways that
yeah,
that meet that criteria.
one of our busiest roads is like 319 to 307, going in that direction, that right down the middle of the county, where everybody's coming and going. Part of that's yours.
Yes, sir.
And Michelle, these monies are not currently budgeted in each of the precincts unless you're going to use already budgeted money from your road and bridge materials, or we can budget accordingly for starting in October for the new fiscal year. Or you can
According-
request to move it from your fund balance.
According to this, the total of $537,000, 430 of that is going to be the state share, and 107 is going to be the counties.
Correct.
So, coming from each of the
So yes, I mean,
precincts.
none of this has been taken out and separated out per precinct as far as the local match goes, which y'all have on your list of what each project will need to satisfy that local match. But like I said, it's a 5-year grant, 5 years to spend the money. If you want to plan it out, you can. The dates are trivial. You can move the dates. Those were dates to put in, to plug in, to.
We are,
the county share comes out of our budget. It has in the past.
Yeah.
However you all decide to do it.
Out of each road and bridge budget?
Right.
Yes.
we are benefiting from this through Karnes County because about 2 miles of County Road 204, Karnes County's gonna pave it. It's a border road,
Right.
and we got 500, or say 430,000, and they got over 10 million, so
Yeah,
they're
and I have
being
actually-
nice.
I haven't actually reached out to
To Wayne?
Wayne, thank you.
Yes.
In a while to see, because I know y'all wanted to do those roadways concurrently, so that
They're gonna put theirs at 204 out for bid within the next week or two.
the next week or two.
Yeah, so we will, for me, I'll say spend that on one project, and then I'll get
They
reimbursed
had some changes.
for that amount.
Question.
Just like I told you,
I've got some
and I may have told you too, is this number will
Traffic has
probably be
grown
higher than that.
unbelievably in Livonia area.
Our match, because
What can I do to get any help to try to rebuild or fix these one-lane bridges before somebody gets killed on them and then they're suing the county?
So I know there's a bridge, a state bridge fund.
There's an off-road bridge
These
system.
these are not in the
Off-road bridge fund.
system.
They're not in the system?
They should be, because every bridge we have should be.
They're not really.
No, it depends on the length of the bridge.
Yes, the length of
bridges
the
are not.
bridge.
Okay,
They gotta meet a
we
criteria.
need to,
As an
we
example,
need to do
Three of them that
something.
are not in the off-grid system
But
that
I-
are up to the county to do something with.
and
You
it's
know
not
that
like
they're-
they'll do anything necessarily. 425, County Road 425, there's 2 bridges on that road. The one that got hit, that I had to pay to have the guardrails redone, was a TxDOT inventoried bridge. I've got another one on that road that's not long enough, so it doesn't qualify as a TxDOT bridge. I can't remember what the length is, but it's pretty clear, even if it's in their system, they don't necessarily fix it.
There are grants available. There's, the one starting up that's going to address some other issues from past, the hazard mitigation grant. There are a couple projects that, were identified in the last hazard mitigation plan, that we're gonna look to at least get some funding for. That might be an option. There's also a rural transportation plan, which is through ACOG. I have not, read and been involved with that in over 10 years. So I'd have to see how it's changed, but that's kind of like a 5-year plan. I don't know how much money comes down from ACOG for that, but that is something that could move in that direction as far as what everybody else was discussing earlier. And, you know, there are other types of transportation funding as well. So I think it's something worth looking at and putting on the priority list for moving forward with. Going back to the hazard mitigation, that's a plan that's done every 5 years. And it's really good if all the commissioners would be involved and participate. That way we can identify projects and get them in that plan. That means if it's in that plan, it will likely be funded from other funding sources from the federal government. So it's important to get it in the plan, and to be involved in that overall process. That's why planning is important.
So get with you on them.
The Texas Department of Transportation info that we have here that affects all of the precincts except for 3. Obviously, when you look at the total of what the county share is, we talked about the fact that that's $107,000. The TxDOT amount is $430,000. Are we going to pay for that 430 out of the general fund and and deposit that money, those monies as they come in?
I'm sorry, I was answering an email. What did you ask?
I was asking on this department, Texas Department of Transportation, it affects all the precincts except for precinct 3. The county, the part that is not reimbursable, $107,591, is to be paid out of precinct budgets.
Right.
The $430,000 that TxDOT is reimbursing are we going to pay that out of the general fund and then have that go automatically into the general fund as we're reimbursed? Because that could take a big bite out of a precinct budget.
No, it would, but I just asked Commissioner Martin that question as well. And the way he explained it to me, for example, in his precinct, one of them is 23,988 for one County Road 103, I think is what it is.
Right?
His precinct budget would pay that 23,988 and then get the reimbursement back into his precinct budget. So I would venture to say that it would come from each precinct's budget as the project is completed and then reimbursed directly back into your fund.
Could be. In my case, it's over $200,000, and in
And the same-
precinct two's case, it's 260-something thousand.
And I think that's important to Michelle's comment is if you don't want to do that project this fiscal year, you could allocate the dollars next
I
year
mean,
to do it. If that's, I mean, because I guess really you've got a couple, three options here. Because I'm going to do one this year. I have money in my material budget for that project, or that I can use for that project. So I'm going to do one this year, and then I'm going to wait for one next fiscal year, and I'll identify that one in my budget.
I can't recall how quick the turnaround is from the state.
pretty quick, but last time we went to the general fund to pay that, we
And
didn't.
I don't see any reason why I can't go through the general fund, because it's going to get reimbursed.
We took it out of the general fund to pay it, and then.
Yeah, other than our share,
Right.
we're going to pay anyway. But I would hate to be in a position where I'm looking at making a decision about doing it and thinking, I'm not going to have the cash when it would be reimbursed. We know the state's going to come through. I just don't know.
Yeah, and
The
we can do
speed.
it, and I can set it up like I did the Volkswagen account. I set up a whole completely separate fund for that, so I can do it too, just so that we keep it separate and away from the general fund numbers, so.
So you're saying you're okay either way, though?
Yeah, either way, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I just make sure that
Yeah,
there's
we'll.
clear communication to Michelle and me so that we know where to code the invoices to.
Yeah, well, particularly if you're looking at,
I'll make a motion to approve the updated priority list for the TxDOT County Transportation Infrastructure Fund grant.
Motion by Commissioner Martin,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Wiley, that we do what he said, where I won't have to read it again. Okay, is there any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we got this. If you got some more of these, so I can, another copy?
Yeah, one goes to Ms. Eva.
I know these are gonna go to Eva. I want something for,
And thanks again, Michelle, for all your hard work in getting us these grants.
thank you. You don't mind getting me
It's
a copy?
Yeah,
Okay.
Like he responded, it was turned down.
Okay, agenda item number 10, Richard L. Jackson County Judge John P. Holcomb, IT Director, discuss and potential action to take place regarding a change order for the Sheriff's Office Spillman data conversion.
Thank you. The Spillman data conversion is, we were in the process of doing the Spillman data conversion. There was some data that was originally excluded from the conversion. The company that is doing the conversion is going to convert a maximum of 23 pages. And there's certain booking information for the jail and also outstanding warrant information that it was requested that data be converted. The cost to convert the additional tables is $10,405. And I don't think that's been budgeted. I can't speak for Brenda, so I just, I don't know if it's even possible to do, but if it is,
So John and I spoke last week about this. If you remember, not last year, but year before, when you approved the Motorola Spillman contract for the new fleet software, there was a whole packet of what was included. This is an addition to that. That was not included, but from my understanding is being requested and is what's needed. If we don't do it, then I believe it holds up the conversion, correct?
well, so if we don't, basically, we have to decide because the decision will hold up the conversion one way or the other. You know, if we don't decide, or we decide later, it could create problems with conversion. The conversion is currently in process now. And so if we made a decision today, we would have, you know, another checkpoint where we can verify the data is converted properly. Basically, if you don't convert, or if we don't convert the data, my understanding is the jail would probably just have to manually enter everyone who's currently booked. I'm not entirely sure that we would have access to the data once we stop our contract with NetData. Or perhaps NetData would give us the ability to have read-only access to the data. That is, you know, it's basically outstanding warrant visitation information, and I think a suicide screen notes, those kinds of things.
We need
Is
some
this a
kind of-
one-time charge?
We'll have to have some kind of
Not an
read-only,
annual charge.
excuse me.
Sorry.
We'll have to have some kind of read-only access even after the conversion, because I know I've gone through a conversion when I was a justice of the peace. And whatever, not everything gets converted. So there's gonna have to be times that they're gonna have to go back in there. It's handy if you could just do it without having to go back to, you know, to have it converted, but it won't be all 100%. No conversion is.
Yes, sir, and I am in the process also of working with NetData to see if we can work an agreement where we can have read-only access to the NetData tables. And Sheriff, I don't know if you'd like to chime in, or if you have an opinion on it, or.
Pretty much exactly what he's told you. The conversions that we're requesting is stuff that we found out is probably critical and had been omitted for the jail and the booking stuff. And I think Judge Jackson had already told me about the read-only, because there may be stuff there that we don't even realize we need, that once we drop that data, we may not be able to access anymore. And for a while, at least, till we run through this, we probably need to at least have some access behind us in case there's data we need to come pull.
We need the conversion, and we still need access to that
I
data.
believe so.
And
If we got the money, where would the money come from, just out of
that's what I was
curiosity?
gonna say. So, obviously, it's not budgeted in the sheriff's department software budget, so my only recommendation is that, we would use our contingency line item for unexpected expenses, which has sufficient enough funds in it for that.
That has to be a separate vote coming from Commissioner's Court to use the money out of the contingency line item?
Not necessarily, I just need a
Just approve
approval of the
this?
court if we're going to do it, correct?
Okay.
Well, in that case, I'll make a motion to provide a change order for the Sheriff's Office Spillman data conversion with the money coming out of contingency funds.
Motion by Commissioner Morton, second by Commissioner Perdola, that we do the change order and use the money out of the contingency line item. Is there any more discussion on this?
John, do you have the change order that you can forward to me to make sure that we have it? Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we've got that. Okay, Leanne, it's your turn. Agenda item number 11. Leanne Hoshek, EMC 11A subdivision, Western Way, discuss and take action on release of bond.
Western Way is, it's a subdivision in precinct 4, it's the one off 3432 by Podcaster Corner, and it's time to release their, bond for, road and drainage improvements. The 2 years is up, and, the final inspection was conducted, and everything is, satisfactorily maintained, so it's time to release their bond.
Whereabouts around Kycaster is it?
Right on the other side of Kycaster store, Kycaster Corner, just west towards San Antonio.
32?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just right past the Kycaster store. It's adjacent
Right
to it.
behind the store.
Yeah. I went out and took a look at it. There were a couple of things that were deficient that they've corrected. And so I make a motion that we approve it.
Motion by Commissioner Wiley,
Second.
second by Commissioner Perdola. that we approve and release the bond. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This motion carries. Okay, agenda item 12, Jan Hartle, County Treasurer, financial report, and I don't see Ms. Hartle here, so I guess we have none. Okay. So agenda item 13, Jalen T. Boterford, Human Resource General Specialist, payroll and personnel changes.
Short and sweet today. We have Timothy Jacks, who was hired as a corrections officer for the sheriff's department, making $14.65 per hour, $32,000 annually, effective April 12th.
That's it? Thank you. Okay. Now, agenda item 14, Brenda L. Trevino, County Auditor, bills.
I've got bills for $245,386.43.
Last one.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills.
Motion by Commissioner Martin, approve the bills.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fowle. Anybody have any questions, additions, deletions, anything like that? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed, which I know there is none, so we've got. Okay, and the one we've all been waiting for, agenda item 15 at 10:23. We're adjourned.